I think you put them all together and it was a good game. Yeah, we didn't play that well in the second quarter, but I don't know, human psychology is very hard when you have a quarter like you do in the first quarter to keep the guys at it. But the great thing about the day was that in the third and fourth quarter they went back and played the way we want the boys to play. So, yeah, second quarter was a bit disappointing, but our boys went up for a long time as well. Like they've played 4 really good NAB Cup games. They've had some pretty good form over the first 5 weeks. And so a quarter like that, you're not going to get too upset with them over.
Is there a danger in games like that where players can sort of start playing for themselves to a degree, because obviously the results beyond doubt? And is that a challenge as a coach to get them to stick to the tried and true formula?
Yeah, whether it's playing for yourself or whether it's going away from the structures and the setups, I understand what you're saying, and I think there is, and that's probably what happened in the second quarter, that we started to get ahead of the ball. We started to not set the ground up the way we wanted to do it, and when that happens, the score results in what it results in. The one thing you know about Gold Coast, though, is they're a very good clearance team. They've got some really strong bodies around the ball. They're good in clearances, and you know, our game wasn't as good as theirs in the second quarter on clearances and contested footy, and when they started beating us in that area in the second quarter, they started to dominate the game, which is never pleasing. But the good thing, as I said, after half time we got it back to the way we wanted the game to be played.
What were you thinking during the first quarter? I mean, isn't that the ultimate play on the team to play?
Yeah, it was. Look,
ultimate scoreboard pressure.
It'll probably never happen again, and probably didn't expect it to happen. So I suppose you enjoy it, but you are in the moment so much that it's hard to. You're looking at every part of the game and whether we're doing what we want to do, and the score almost becomes a bit. You don't notice it till the end of the quarter. You go, is that the score? So you're pleased with the way we're playing. The score is, I suppose, a byproduct of the way you play.
And you must have been happy, obviously, the way it came up against that game, short break, but it's come out again like that.
Yeah, 6 days off a massive game. It was always our worry is how we'd perform. We gave the boys a very light week because we wanted them to come up on 6 days and play well, and they did. So you go from a game in front of 89,000 people to a game in front of 35. There is a sense that maybe they won't perform as well, but no doubt in the first quarter they showed no, I suppose, hangover from Anzac Day.
And I know obviously focusing on your own team, but take anything away what the Gold Coast showed you today, especially in that second term?
I think they were very good. I mean, there's no doubt Gold Coast will be a very, very good team. And the second quarter showed where they're going to be good with their midfield pressure, their clearances, their contested footy. Once they get that going for 4 quarters, they're going to be a very hard team to beat. Fortunately for us, we've met them at a period on the cycle that they're not as mature as they would like yet. But from our point of view, we're very happy with the result.
How important is that to get you through the year? Some bruise-free footy, not too many injuries, I don't think. I mean, never had those down periods in terms of intensity.
I'd like every week to win by that much, John, to be honest. I don't think you can say it was bruise-free footy. I think that every game now is played with the running intensity and knocks that you need. But I suppose it did able to manipulate our substitute, bringing Heath hocking off. He's had a massive workload on some of the best players to be able to bring him off half through the third quarter, rest a couple of guys, give David Hill a chance to get some touch in the ruck in the second half, and do things, put Michael Hurley back because, and Fletch not playing. So we were able to manipulate the game a little bit, which is always good.
And just on Hurley back and the reasoning behind?
Fletch didn't play and we needed another tall. They're actually quite tall in their forward line and we needed Hurley to cover it. And the great thing about Michael is he can play forward, back and even on the ball a little bit. So he's done that for us today, and where he lines up next week will depend on. West Coast have got a very tall forward line as well, so he might even have to start back as well.
John McKenna said he wouldn't use that game, obviously, to review as far as preparing for the next game. Are you similar? Do you won by so much?
We'll review certain elements of it. We'll review every week you work on things at training, and when you see them come out in the game or don't come out in the game, then you need to look at it from our point of view. So there's some certain things that we will look at. And some during the week which are important for the learning and development of our team.
Is Ryder okay?
Yeah, Ryder's fine. It was just silly of him, but he just got a cork to the hip, so he'll be fine. Yeah, it looked a bit scary when it actually happened, but no, he's awake and didn't get knocked out. It was just a bruise to his hip, which is good.
Just Remus, just his development coming into this side, he was pretty patchy last week when he came on as a sub.
Yeah, I didn't think he was too bad. I mean, coming on as a sub's really hard. He got 8 possessions in a quarter of footy last week and contributed. Probably didn't use the ball as well as we would have liked him to last week, but 8 goals and more importantly did the defensive things really well. Set up the ground the way we wanted him to. It was a very good performance, and to kick 8 goals, he was the fortunate one that I suppose got the reward from the way the team played. But there's not many people who've ever kicked 8 goals before, so you should be very proud of that.
It's probably irrelevant, but the boost thing he said afterwards, I want to be a team man. I mean, it's an important little thing from the mental side, isn't it?
It is. It is. Kyle has worked very hard to get his place in this team. We haven't made it easy for him. We probably could have played him 2 or 3 weeks earlier the way he's playing in the reserves. But we want every player who gets a game for Essendon to have to work hard for it and to play as a team. And when you've got a reputation as being an individual, you have to maybe take a couple of steps back to show that you're a team player, to prove to the rest of your teammates that you're part of a team. And he's doing that at the moment, which is really good credit to him.
Just been up for a long time, James. You've got a month or so where you can really consolidate the season. Are you sort of conscious of that, the possibility of drop-off in the group?
We haven't thought about, I suppose, drop-off, but I will say at the game on the weekend, when the fixturing was done, 1 o'clock on Mother's Day, Essendon versus West Coast, I don't think anyone thought it was going to be a big game, but the way West Coast are playing, the history between the two sides of the way the contests have been the last, ever since I've been at the club, 15 years of the club, West Coast Essendon has always been a big game, and they're playing terrific football. John Worsfold's got them really fit, playing really defensive football, so we actually see it as a very big game for us, West Coast here on Sunday, and that's the way our footy club will be treating it, as a big game with a big crowd that if you win, it keeps you going up the ladder and keeps showing improvement.
Jacket waving promises?
No, I'll leave that to Sheeds. I think he's put that jacket in the cupboard, thankfully.
Are you confident Fletch would be okay for next week?
Yeah, Fletch will definitely play next week. Yep, no, Fletch will be spot on.
Just on the maturity aspect of Gold Coast just being a fledgling side, do you think that's a mental advantage that you had, or just body strength around the packs around the ground?
I'm not really sure whether it's mental or physical, but I think our guys. Interesting. If you were at Essendon last year, we had a 100-point loss, and we maybe had a couple of big losses. And you saw the psyche on the guys when they smelt that they could win by a lot, that they'd been on the other end of this last year, and that they wanted to actually hand one out. And I think whether it's mental, whether it's physical, I'm not sure. But the really pleasing thing from our team's point of view is they smelt it and they wanted to put the shoe on the other foot, and they did it. So the feeling in our dressing rooms is really, really good at the moment because of that.